Oh, you are recording.
Okay, so we'll call the Sign Advisory Committee meeting to order at 9 a.m. on October 20th, 2020. As a preliminary matter, this is Chris Young, Chair. Permit me to confirm all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Paul Wolf.
Here.
Mark Gattone.
Here.
Okay, staff, when I call your name, please respond in the
Excuse me,
affirmative.
Mr. Chair, I
Oh, yes.
apologize, but Ben and Kevin have joined the group. as
Oh,
well.
okay. So Kevin Schuster
Here.
and Ben Norman.
Here.
Great. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Kathy Flynn.
Present.
Anticipated speakers on the agenda. Is anybody logged in that we need to?
Yes, Sue, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Mittenden. Yes, and
Okay.
Mike
Thanks, Sue.
Duffy is here. And who else? And Sherry Ramus is here from Sign here in Nantucket.
Okay, so
far.
Mike Duffy, can you hear us?
I can, yeah.
Okay, and Sherry,
Good morning.
good morning. All right,
Okay,
the SAC is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we've been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with the agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation. Unless such participation is required by law, this meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting, the SAC is convening by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided the members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We're now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you're not speaking, and remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. All right, thank you all for putting up with that. So moving on to the agenda, do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Paul. Is there a second?
Aye.
Thank you, Kevin. Mark, are you in favor?
Yes.
And Ben?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
And Paul?
Yes.
All right, thank you. I'm in favor. We've adopted the agenda. We have minutes for the last two meetings to approve. Any comments, or would somebody like to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you, Paul. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ben. So we'll go and vote. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
Mark?
Yes.
Ben?
Aye.
And Paul?
Aye.
I am as well. So that carries. Is anybody on for general public comment, not related to a specific application before us today?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
before we get started, there is someone in the group who I don't know which application she is representing. Do you mind if I ask real quickly?
Yes, please do.
Holly McGowan, I'm gonna unmute you. Which application are you here to represent? I guess we'll
I
get back
think,
to Holly.
I'm guessing that she's here for the substance abuse, since I know she's a member of that.
Did you hear me?
Okay.
Oh,
Oh, hi, Holly.
yes, it's for the sign, the yard signs for the substance abuse.
Okay.
prevention
Oh, great.
For Red
Okay.
Ribbon Week, which is
Thank
every
you.
October. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Holly, stay on the line because you are number one on our agenda. So why don't we move to that application?
Okay, and our program director, Sue Minton, who had the signs created, is here as well. I saw her.
You're
Okay.
right there.
So why don't we, which one of you would like to speak on behalf of the application?
I'll let Sue speak since
Stu?
she spearheaded this.
Okay, Sue, introduce us to what you're doing here.
Hi, good morning. So we are celebrating Red Ribbon Week starting on Friday. The select board should be making a proclamation as such on Wednesday's meeting. And so we created some lawn signs to just spread awareness that one states that we support, there you go, substance misuse prevention and recovery on Nantucket. And we just want people to know that there's help here and that there are resources here. So we think these signs would be helpful to get the word out. We plan on just having them up for about a week and a half, just to, again, raise awareness in the community.
Okay, so, and are these, how are these signs? It says they're painted.
They're like your standard lawn sign that you see around like a campaign one. They're not really painted, they're printed.
Okay.
I just wanted to add that normally what we have done in the past is tie red ribbons around in front of the school and public town buildings. And so we're really getting permission more so for town properties. We'd like to have them in front of the schools, maybe the police station, the town building.
Okay, and how many of them are you looking to place? We usually get some sort of a map or indicator of where they're going to go.
I have 50 total. I don't know that I'm going to get all of them out.
Okay, will any of them be going on private property, on people's front lawns and things like that, or is it all intended for public? Okay.
Certainly some on private property for sure.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go down the board and get their feedback. So why don't we start with Paul?
I don't know that the guidelines provide for this kind of a sign. I'm generally not in favor of it because we've got so many that are out there already that are not approved. And this is just going to bring on more. I think it's a bad idea.
Kevin? Kevin, can you hear us?
How's that?
Do you have any
Are you
comments,
there?
Kevin? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that we have the ability to grant the use of town property for this. I think we're supposed to work with the owner of the property on applications. But that aside, I think that I'm opposed on the grounds that we don't allow freestanding signs. It's not the correct material. I think we have to start reining these in a little bit where we can. I'm not opposed to the ribbons. I'm not opposed to if people want to put these in store windows or in their front windows. but I think it's appropriate to minimize freestanding signs, or otherwise we could be having these on a year-round basis, even more than we do today. That's all.
Okay, Ben? Oh, sorry. Let me go down the boards and then we'll come back to you, Sue. Ben?
Yeah, I think I don't think there's anything that we can do to stop people from putting these on their private property for short periods of time, just like a political sign. I'm not sure where that is in the guideline, but I'm not going to have a problem with that, I guess. Or in store windows or any other private property, but to put them in public property seems, outside of our jurisdiction, I guess, or role. So.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Kevin. Or excuse me, Mark.
I probably agree with Ben on that.
Okay. And I think I take the same position as far as, these are the message aside, which is an important message, but it's the same principle as sort of what we've seen with the African Meeting House and the Surfside Crossing messages, which are political statements to some extent. Well, I think they're viewed as political statements, but not having the town's permission or being asked to grant the town's permission is sort of beyond our scope. So the guidelines do allow for private property to display these sorts of messages, but I don't see how we could allow it on town property. And we have some cases where they are showing up on the other messages showing up on town property that are being put into violation. So it would be tough for us to sort of allow this on town property. But Sue, you wanted to make a comment, I think.
Well, I did actually, Holly.
Oh, Holly, sorry.
I just want to say this is actually a nationwide messaging campaign that runs annually just for 1 week at the end of October. It's meant to incorporate communities, they get the all populations of communities on board with substance misuse prevention. And it's just a strategy for awareness that only occurs 1 week annually.
Has the school granted permission, or have you asked the Board of Selectmen for permission to use town property? Or are you asking us? Is this your way of asking the town's permission?
Sue, how did we end up at HDC for this?
HDC reached out to me to apply because they had heard about it on an email blast that went out, which I appreciate. I want to be in compliance as best I can.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may, would it be more relevant if they want to put the signs for a week on town property that I receive a waiver from town administration? Would that help this situation any, if it was on town property?
I'm not.
I was under the impression it was going to be across the island. That was why I suggested they speak with you.
Right.
I didn't realize it was actually on town property itself, because whoever reached out to me didn't say that. How I was made aware of this didn't say it was going to be on town property. So typically with an application, we get a waiver from Erica Mooney and Libby Gibson. So if they're made aware of it,
And we're also talking about this starts this week. Is that correct? It starts
today.
Friday. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I guess we're just struggling with what's our role in this. If we're looking to approve, the guidelines don't support approving these as a freestanding sign or as a vinyl sign. We're not really allowed to grant permission on town property. That's not our role. So I'm not sure what I think Kevin and Paul's points are well taken, that we can't grant a waiver here because then we'll just have everybody else saying, well, we want to put our signs up regardless of whether it's a week or not, or the message is more important than the next message. It's more about the principle of it, I think.
Mr. Chair, what I meant by waiver was typically when the town applies for an HDC certificate of appropriateness, they send me a waiver. It waives the fee, and that they're also aware of the application. So that's what I was
Oh, I
getting
see.
at with this. Is that if they were to send a waiver, it waives the fee, first of all, and then it also makes you aware that they are aware that these folks are applying for those signs for a week on town property. But I would have to reach out to Erica.
Yeah, I don't know if we have
Yeah.
time to respond if, we won't be meeting again until
Right.
2 weeks from today.
Right.
So is there does anybody on the board want to make a motion of any kind? I think we're in a quandary as far as what our role is here. Or do we suggest that I think the advice that is coming from the majority of our board, at least, is that these are allowable on private property. Sounds like 2 of the 5 of us would rather, Paul and Kevin are thinking that there's a proliferation of these types of signs. I think that as political signage, they could be allowed on private property for a temporary period of time. Should we make any kind of a motion? Does anybody want to?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
as a compromise, could we put a very tight time limit on this and significantly reduce the number of signs? I was shocked when someone said 50 signs.
Right. Well, Sue and Holly, do you understand where we're coming from? That we really can't grant you the permission on public property. Do you have any thoughts on how we can work together to get your message out, yet follow the guidelines?
We need to go directly to the town, to, Libby and Erica, and see if they'll let us, grant us permission to put up our sign in front of, say, a school and the police building. And then, for private citizens who want to take a sign and put it in their yard for a week, then we just ask, a handful of people who are willing.
Right. I have a number of businesses that have offered to host a sign at their location, so that's fine with me. I'm certainly was hoping to find some more high traffic public areas, but I'm happy to reach out to town administration and see what they have to say. But yeah, I'm committed to keeping them out only for a couple weeks, or maybe even just, a week.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'm assuming that the town's going to grant the permission. So therefore, is there any way we can limit the number of signs and the amount of time that they're up?
I think both of that's within our purview. I think, according to the guidelines, we can certainly, for temporary signage, do both of those things. So if we want to make a motion.
Keep hearing, all right, I keep hearing 1 week and then I hear 2 weeks. So I would make a motion that if the town approves the signage on public property, that the number of signs be limited to, 10 maybe, and that the number of days be limited to 7.
Okay, that's a motion.
That's a
Do
motion.
we have a second?
So,
Second.
sorry,
Okay, so
discussion on the motion real quickly.
yes, yeah. I was going to say, we're not going to go straight to a vote. I'm sure there's going to want to be a discussion. So that's been seconded. So is there any discussion that the public would like to make? Any comments from Sue or Holly?
Mr. Chair, I'm just wondering, is the 10 limited to public or just in general, island-wide?
In general,
Okay.
total.
Well, I
I
disagree.
that might be beyond our purview, Paul. I'm thinking that as a political sign on private property, they could put them out. I'm
Okay.
really
all
not a
right.
lawyer on this one, but I think we should focus on the town properties, probably in our public properties.
Okay.
I'm just, is there any other comment coming from the board? Does anybody feel free to speak up?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay, Ben.
I think that, you know, assuming that we can decide that we're comfortable with the timeline, I think that as long as the town offers permission to put these signs on their property, then it's a political sign, it's out of our jurisdiction, and whoever wants to put one on private property is also out of our jurisdiction. So I would almost ask that this application be withdrawn and that the town and the organization putting this on deal with it privately, and it's not an applied for sign.
Okay. So we're in discussion on a motion to limit the number of signs to 10 and have it posted for 7 days.
Okay.
But so I guess we would deny that motion and then entertain your motion if that's the pleasure of the board.
I guess it's maybe not a motion I'm making a suggestion, I guess. Sorry.
Yes, yeah.
I'm out of term here.
Right. Does anybody else on the board want to make a comment?
Yes, this is Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
I agree with, I don't agree with the motion. I do like Ben's comment. I guess I don't think we should even be discussing property that we don't have jurisdiction over. And I think that in general, these types of signs do not meet the guidelines. And at some point, we got to start saying no. And if they want to have them meet the guidelines, that means that they're made out of the right materials and they're done the way that the guidelines say. So if they want to take it on with the town, I'd say fine, but I think that our group should stand by the guidelines and by the fact that we have to have applications that the property owners sign off on before they come to us. That's all.
Okay, so we can do two things. I think we can either vote, we have to vote on the motion. We can vote to approve it as Paul proposed. We can deny what Paul proposed. And then subsequently, we can make another motion, or the applicants, having heard the comments, could withdraw the application before we vote. I'll give the applicants a chance to speak if you guys want to think about that. Does everybody understand? Or Holly and Sue, do you understand what we're saying?
Yeah, I feel that we should withdraw our application. It doesn't seem like it's an appropriate request at this point
Yeah, I agree.
from the HDC.
Okay,
And we should request from the town,
okay,
like we have in the past for our red ribbons.
okay. If that's your decision, then we can close the discussion because it's been withdrawn.
Yes.
So, okay. All right, well, thank you both for going through the process with us. It's every application gives us a chance to test new waters. So thank you guys for going through that with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
And
Thank
if we
you very
know
much.
exactly what kind of signs you would like to have see, I guess they're wooden and painted. Is that the?
Yeah, the guidelines give different types of temporary signage materials that are approvable. So, if you want to, and locations for those and size requirements and things like that. So if you wanted to look into that, that would be good. And, examples, there are successful examples of other organizations
Okay.
applying for and getting approved signage for temporary messages.
Okay. Thank you.
So, all right, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
very much.
ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. The
Chris?
next item on the agenda is 117 Orange Street. Do we have anybody on the line for that application?
Doesn't appear that there is.
Okay.
I can pull up the application if you'd like.
Let's just, we have an approved agenda, but we could make a modification to just put that towards the end so we can continue working with people that are online.
Okay, sure.
Is there a motion to push that to the end of the agenda?
Move.
Okay, and seconded.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Paul,
All
Kevin,
Aye.
Mark,
Yeah.
Ben. Okay,
Hey, guys, unfortunately, I do have a 9:30, so I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes, but I'm going to
Okay.
jump. Okay.
thank you, Mark. We will try to get through this then. So we have 5 Teasdale Circle. Is anybody on the line for that? Let me just keep going. Is anybody from NIR on the line for, Sherry, you're on the line for Zero Main, correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay, why don't we just go right to that item? Take us through what they're trying to do, Sherry.
Okay, so that's the store where Monel used to be,
Okay,
and this girl, Erin, has taken over. I don't know if she bought the business or what, but anyway, so now it's a name change. She's replacing exactly what was there, only hers are going to be white with gold lettering. I think Monel was dark blue and something.
Okay.
I don't even remember. But hers are just going to be white with gold lettering, and they're the same size and going in the same place as the Monel signs. One
Okay.
facing the Stop and Shop parking lot in town, which is by the Easy Street door. I think that's Washington Street, but you know what I mean. And then the other one faces the club car.
okay. Going down the list, Mark, do you have any comments?
I would motion to approve.
Okay, Ben, let me just get comment. Ben, any comments?
No, it looks fine.
Kevin
No comment.
and Paul?
No, that's good.
All right, so Mark's got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, thank you. Ben, are you in favor?
Favor.
And Kevin,
Yes.
Ben,
Favor.
and Mark.
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Jerry. Those, now, that was 2 applications, both are approved.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. All right, do we have Mike Duffy on the line still?
Yep,
You
still
do.
here.
Great. Mike, you've got 3 applications, is that correct?
Yeah,
Or
that's
you-
correct.
Okay. Which one would you like to discuss first? We have the Old South.
Yeah, let's do that one. That one's open.
Okay. Go ahead, take us through that.
Sure thing. So I'm sure some of you have seen the large barges and cranes that have come into the harbor. We are renovating the north side of the bulkhead here, and that work is really commencing from this week. It'll take us through April. What we're asking for today is permission to include a couple temporary signs. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4 canvas material printed, really a sunbrella banner that would be applied to the temporary construction fencing. Duration on the temporary sign is really from now, as I look at the calendar, over the next couple weeks, we'll have a lot of the retailers closing and the restaurants closing mid next month, and then open for winter Noel in a couple weeks. So they'd be up only for a short amount of time. Again, canvas material applied on the construction fencing and then on the side of one of the buildings.
Okay. Mark, do you have any comments?
Can we see the graphic for the sign again, please? Sorry, I'm just kind of looking at the scale of all this. So I guess one immediate comment is going to be the 4 feet, 44 inches is very tall.
Sure.
28 wide. So I have some concerns with the scale of this. It's graphically certainly not something consistent with our guidelines. So I think those are my comments for the moment, scale and possibly the graphics.
Okay. Kevin?
It's a little, how many of these are there? There are 5?
I think we had shown 5 on the plan, the one that's noted on the tree. We meant to omit that. So the 3 on the left-hand side toward the street, and then 2 as you get into the wharf.
Okay.
1, 2.
Hey, Jim.
I tend to agree with Mark. I don't think it needs to be.
I think it is. I'm in the I'm at my computer now trying to.
Oh,
make
Mark,
that
can you mute yourself? Thanks.
Dead.
Okay. Sorry, Kevin. You have the floor.
I agree with Mark's comments. I think they could be done at a smaller scale. I'm not sure what. It's an awfully big sign with an awfully small message of being open. I think you could say they're open in a lot smaller space.
Yeah. Okay, Paul?
I would agree with Kevin's comments.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, I think the sign could be smaller, and I think as long as we have dates, up now till then, and it's an appropriate timeline, and knowing that any time after that is a violation, then I'll be fine with that. But reduce it by 2/3 or 1/3 would be nice.
Okay, I agree with your comments. I also, is there a need for the red and white stripes across the top as far
No, I think our graphics team was just came up with the graphic. What I was going to suggest or propose is if we lopped off the white and red section on the top, it takes roughly 1/3 of it off, maybe a little less. And we just had the blue part in our dust sign. It's something we'd be happy to do.
I think that would be a good start. And I'm also concerned because I think the 2 of them are right next to each other. The 2 on the corner of the primary building there, coming off the corner of the parking lot.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if one of those could be eliminated. I think that you're going to basically see both of those at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as that goes. So that would basically reduce you to 3 signs. It sounds like. And so would it be safe to say that we'd be about 28 by 28 then if we were to lop off the top? Could we just ask you to revise the application to 28 by 28? Would that work for you if a motion was made that way?
Yeah, it most certainly would. We can take care of that.
Okay, if there's anybody with a motion.
Well, I'd like to get a definitive dates on this too.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at a calendar here. I think we would have them installed from approval to I'd say the end of stroll or what will be quote unquote stroll of this year, and then anytime after that we will fully remove, and by the time the wharf reopens next April, construction will be complete and the need will be gone.
Okay, so taken down, say by December 20th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so did you say that's going to be reduced to 3 signs?
Well, we don't have a motion yet, but that I'm saying
okay.
if they had to an application for 4, and if 2 of them are right next to each other, I think we could ask for 3 in a motion.
Well, they're asking for 5.
What, Mike, you said you removed the one off the tree?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was going to suggest if they haven't, well, we'll take the one off the tree. I don't think that's an appropriate location
Okay.
anyway.
Good.
Which is
Okay,
right here, Mike,
perfect.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
All right, so to move the process, can we get a motion for 3 signs, 28 by 28, to be removed by December 20th?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Okay, I'll assume a second in there. I'll take, Paul, your motion.
I'll second.
Ben, thank you. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
I am as well. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mike, now you've got 19 North Water.
Yeah, so these 2 signs, yeah, Kathy, that's, or whomever's controlling the screen, it's a good place to stop. These are 2 roadway signs at the White Elephant Village. We received a violation earlier this year. Our apologies for not pulling them down in a more expedient manner. We had subsequently taken them down, put up temporary signage, and we just went back through the regulations and tried to make sure we hit the correct sizing, which is effectively a 1 square foot sign, and have proposed the 2 signs, one being an entrance only and the second being a one-way, to effectively take the place of these previous signs, which we received the violation of.
I might start the comment here. I have a question. Do you feel it's important to have a one-way sign when you're entering from that? I mean, if it wasn't there, people would still be welcome to enter. So it's not
That's a
like
good
telling them
point.
do not enter.
Sure.
So is it a necessary sign at all?
Probably not. No, I think as you outline it that way, that certainly makes sense.
I think that our concern was there were a few of these that popped up around the island where it just is a proliferation of signage that
Sure.
our job is to try to protect the streetscape. So I'm not sure, if we could call these signs unnecessary, that would certainly work better in our interests. Are there any comments from the board, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't think they're necessary. They haven't been there for many years. This sign and the other ones that went in down by Washington, I got more complaints on these than any other signs. I think it's because they don't follow the appropriate guidelines for street signs. I think if you look in the guidelines, street signs by the town or by anybody else should be done to conform with the signs that the town makes. So we don't end up with every private property owner wanting to do their own street signage. So yes, I don't think they're necessary, and I don't think they should be approved as applied for. That's all.
Okay, Paul?
Yeah, I agree with all that. They don't do anything to the drivers. If you can go in, you can go in. It can't. So I'm asking Mike, at the other end of this driveway, you might want to have a do not enter sign that says you can't go out that way.
Yeah.
We wouldn't see that.
Yeah, we do have a do not enter sign, again, as you note, not necessarily, it's not viewable from the right of way, so it's buried within the site. We do have that. We would hope that remain. In this case, we're certainly amenable to removing the one-way sign. I'd ask that the entrance only sign be considered, but certainly amenable to whatever the board suggests.
Okay, I kind of view both the same way. I think that entrance
Sure.
only, we don't need to identify entrances to parking lots. That would just, if everybody was allowed to do that, we would just have, entrance signs right down the street. So personally, I would view both the same way. Ben, do you have any comments?
I agree with the board on this one.
Okay. So I guess, Mike, we could ask you if you want to withdraw applications, or we can vote on the two applications.
No, we're happy to withdraw both of these applications, and we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. That's, did you have anything else on with us today?
No, just these two.
Okay.
More a process question for Kathy. Kathy, do I need to jump on the HDC call later this afternoon for the temp signage?
No, you do. Oh, for the construction? The construction fence?
So I didn't see the construction fence on the agenda, but specific to the signage that the board just reviewed here, will I need to be present for that?
No, you will not.
Okay.
And the construction fence was put on consent for Thursday.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. All right, let's jump back up to 117 Orange Street. Is anybody on the line for that?
I don't see anybody here.
All right.
This is projecting sign.
All right. So this is for the Tsail. Okay, did they receive a violation notice?
They
Is that
did.
why?
Yes.
Okay.
That one right there.
So, Kevin, do you have any comments on this application?
Yes, the application says that it's wood. Boy, I gotta tell you, this thing is awfully perfect for being wood. Other than that, I think the colors are inappropriate, and if they really want to use a logo for their sign, it's going to have to be whatever our percentage is, 10 or 15%. Those I guess are my two comments.
Okay. Mark, or excuse me, Paul?
I really don't have any comments.
Okay, Ben?
Yeah, this sign needs to follow the guidelines, and I don't think it's there at the moment. And I know this building's had a bunch of violations. I haven't driven by in quite a while, but you can see their flag is a logo flag on the picture right there. So I think we just need to be really careful with this location, because I don't think they're following the rules. And starting with this sign, we need to get it into compliance before we can move forward.
Okay. So would we, I agree with the comments that have been made. Should we have a motion to hold for revisions, or do we want to have a motion to deny or a motion to approve?
I would say motion to hold for revisions and
Okay.
representation.
Great. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
Paul
Yes.
and Ben?
Aye.
Okay. I am as well. And let's move on to 5 Teasdale Circle. Oh.
A basic comment.
Yes.
The flag sign should be
Yes.
addressed as well. I see
Right.
Kathy taking notes. So.
Thanks, Kat. Yeah, Kat, I think we should ask for a master sign plan. 'Cause on the other side of the building, I think they have some signage going on as well.
The other, I don't know about the other side. I know that he moved his previous sign from Amelia Drive over to 117 Orange Street, and I was waiting for an application for that as well.
Okay.
I didn't see the flag sign. Good catch there, Ben.
You see that property all the time. I drive by it twice a day.
Eagle
Kathy,
eye. Sorry.
Kathy,
Yes.
the sign he's moving, was that previously approved by us?
I would have to pull the file. That was before I started in this position. So
I don't recall myself.
does it ring? It doesn't ring a bell. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I think
But-
probably not. Okay.
So yeah, let's just ask for a master sign plan, get everything
Sure.
reviewed, and representation will be important.
Okay.
Okay, the last application is Concord Electric Supply at 5 Teasdale Circle. Looks like they've got a wall sign that's 11 inches high by 11.5 feet long, which is within the guidelines. It's a quarter board above the doors. Black, white dove, and navy blue. Ben, do you have any comments?
Looks great.
Paul
No comment.
and Kevin?
Motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Ben, are you in favor?
I'm in favor.
Mark, or excuse me, Paul? Keep calling you Mark.
Aye. Aye.
And Kevin?
Aye.
I am as well. Okay. I believe that takes care of all of our applications. Kathy, I see we have enforcement on here. Are we in the same state as always, or do you have a report?
I don't really have much to report on
Okay.
at the moment.
We have our discussion of a mission statement, which is just sort of an ongoing thought, I suppose. Anybody have any comments?
I think that was in my court and I have not done anything yet. I will.
Oh, that's now on record, Kevin.
Was on record the last meeting.
I know.
Thanks,
all right.
Kevin.
Yeah, thank you for when you do get it done. The appointment of advisory board members, do we have any?
So I just wanted to circle back with you all. So due to the pandemic and being so crazy in this office, we normally appoint advisory board members in the late spring, but now I'm just getting around to it for 2020, and then we'll get back on track next year. But it's Mark and Paul who expired 2020. So I just wanted to let you know it'll be advertised in the paper. If I can get to it this week, if not next Friday, and we advertise for 2 weeks in case somebody else wants to join. You can have an alternate if you so choose, but you've been working with 5, seems pretty relatively steady for the past few years I've been here. So.
Yeah. Well, let's advertise. We can always add. Is there a limit to how many we're allowed to have? Is 6 the cap?
That's a good question. I don't know how many
I don't know that-
alternates. I mean, most of the advisory boards have 1 alternate. Hang on one
Okay.
second. I'm gonna ask my coworker here.
Okay. Well, at the same time, I suppose there's no harm in advertising and finding out what level of interest there is, and then we can figure out
Right.
if we have room for an extra or we make an alternate. But
I mean,
Paul, since you're on the line, I'm hoping you'll entertain re-upping your term.
I already sent my application.
he did.
Oh, good. All right.
Yeah, I've received both Mark's and Paul's, but I just wanted
Okay,
to
great.
let you know that if anybody asks you, I have to advertise it for 2 weeks, and then it will go before the commission as they
Okay.
do every year. I'm just a little behind the 8 ball this year.
Great. Well, thank you, Paul, for signing up again,
Ooh,
and Mark.
and Mark.
For, okay. Anything else on the board's mind?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Ben. Kevin, are you in favor?
Aye.
I am as well. I assume the people making the motion are, so let's call it a day.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
Everybody.
Have a good day.
Bye.